I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to rise up just so they could see me.
I am here with Devin Tolentino from Redline Quality Fitness, right?
That's
Not
right.
that, not that other kind of fitness, but quality fitness. By the way, I
No,
hit you up a couple times because somebody stole your damn logo, right?
I know. I noticed that somebody you sent me a couple different brands that were. One of them was like the Red Line Fit Games or something, right?
Something like the posers,
Yeah,
posers.
freaking losers. No, there's a bunch of other brands or gyms out there with the name Redline. I get these emails all the time from another gym called Redline of like their members trying to cancel memberships, and for some reason they end up on my website and email me to cancel a membership for a gym that's in like Virginia weekly.
You should have said, hell no, we're going to court. have,
Dude, it's
have them call their
annoying.
lawyer.
First of all, I'm like, how are these people so dumb? They go on my website. It's clearly not the gym visually that they're thinking of, and it's not easy to like go through the system and cancel your membership. But they make it through that and somehow think it's the gym they go to.
Well, you
Strange,
just never know, man. There's all sorts of folks out there.
especially in the gym world. You know that.
So, first of all, let me just, for clarification's sake, I met you at the Fit Games last year.
Yeah, during the run event.
Yep. And
Ironically enough.
what's really funny is I'm doing virtual call with one of my clients,
Hmm.
and he brought it up. He said, "Yeah, because it's going to be this Fit Games thing in Nashville." I said, "Really? Where?" And he goes, "I don't know." He goes, "I think it's probably close to you." So I look it up, and it's at the factory. And the
Hmm.
factory is literally, I don't know how many, it probably takes, well, I get my hair cut there. So I'd say it takes me 10 minutes to get there. And anywhere you go in
Yeah,
Tennessee takes 10 minutes, right? Minimum.
ten, 10
If you're at
minutes.
a, if you're at a light, that's 3 minutes, right?
Yeah,
You
yep.
got two lights at 7, right? So I thought, shit, that's close. I gotta go. And I started looking around to see who I might know that would probably be there. And sure enough, there's some folks that I know that were there. And, I kind of mosey in there and I'm saying hello to some people, kissing babies. And um,
Yeah,
you looked at me and you said, "You're Richard Diaz." I said, "Yes, I am." You said, "Don't leave
yeah,
until I get your phone number."
that's right.
Yeah. And so there we go. And then I'm a fly on the wall, typically a fly on the wall, and I'm watching the event go down, and I found it to be unique. I found it to be a little edgier than what is typical in these hybrid competitions these days.
Yeah,
A little spicier than you're going to find in a DecaFit, even a little spicier than you'd find like in a High Rocks, simply because the amount of hard work that's tossed into the fray.
yeah.
Now, and I can't quote scripture on the distances of the run and things like this, but I know that farmer carry was heinous, and
Yeah.
the everything about that event was big boy stuff, right?
Yeah, I would say that's probably a mild way to put it. And that's kind of what I want out of it. It's specifically for the elite division is that yeah, it's more of a it's for big boys for sure. Not size wise, but maybe on difficulty level if you're in the competitive division. Now we do have the less intimidating, more general group of fitness people categories. But what you're talking about, absolutely, it's big boy stuff for sure.
For those that are listening and now they're kind of curious, let me see if I can make this happen. Give them that teaser real quick. Watch this.
Oh yeah, there's some good clips in there.
I mean, obviously that wasn't a ton of information, but it it
Just
it,
enough.
it brought my attention to something that I thought is interesting. So obviously I work with High Rocks athletes, and I
Hmm.
also have some clients that are doing DecaFit. Um, but doing chin ups, the
Yeah.
chin ups are a game changer. You know, and you tell me, remind me what the sequence of event is. Let's just go through the whole thing. What's the event look like?
This year or last year?
Well, it's a good question. I was going to say, have you changed anything from last year?
Yeah. Yeah. Every year, the not the quantity of events or necessarily the overall volume, but the mix of movements and rep schemes will be different this year than what you came and watched last year. Specific to chin ups, we're going to keep those. I believe you can't really like get a good gauge on somebody's upper body pulling strength without pulling your own damn body weight. So we're bringing those back. In that video clip you just saw, that was just a pure max rep set of pull ups, strict pull ups. So the competitive division was the only group to do that, guys and girls, and that was right before the farmer's carry, I believe. So you did as many pull ups as you could. You come off the rig, that's it. Your score's done. This year, we're going to bring them back, but it's going to be more on a repetitive. You'll have a certain amount of reps you have to do for multiple rounds on an interval. And that'll be paired with some bench press and biking as well.
I thought the bench press was kind of interesting. You did that at the gauntlet, and
Say that again?
well, doing the bench press, I thought that was
Oh, yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
You offered that up at the gauntlet, which was
That's right.
the other event you did, which is the team thing, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember how there was a sequence of the bench press was big dog too. I mean, we're talking what the women were using 35-pound dumbbells was like there's a ton of repetitions.
Yeah, 40 for there. He had a partner and they had to split 60 reps, I think.
Yeah,
So the women had to use 40 and the guys were 70-pound dumbbells,
for 60
which
reps.
for 60 reps, yeah. And then they did 30 synchronized burpees afterwards. So,
And that was the finish
yeah,
of the event too, I think. Right?
yeah, that was the last portion of a 4-section workout.
Yeah, so that too was pretty, but that was surprisingly enough. You know, I got to give him credit where credit's due. Nick Riker
Yeah,
pulled it off with Colin
yeah,
Steifer, I guess his name. I don't want.
that's right. Yeah,
I apologize if I screwed up his name. By the way, Colin
yeah.
came out to the clinic, and
Oh, cool.
yeah, when I invited you to come out, you should have came out. He came out. Had somebody come out from Mexico City.
Oh, damn.
And who else? There's a couple other guys came out, and we were doing the heat specific training. It was brutal, dude. It was brutal.
In Tennessee in the summer.
Dude, look at it. It was 95 degrees, and I put him in these plastic suits, and I had him run 1.5 miles in the suit. 95 degrees. I don't know what the humidity was. And as soon as they got back, I put him on the treadmill and did a VO2 max test on him.
So was their VO2 max lower than it would have been without the suit?
Yeah, clearly it was. And also their heart rate was much higher.
Yeah.
So, and I was just kind of experimenting, but Colin came for that. Then we have a little video clip where he's dumping the sweat out of his sleeve. I mean to tell you,
I've seen that.
It was like a magic trick. He was dumping. He must have
Yeah.
dumped out like I don't know, 14 ounces of sweat in each sleeve.
You ought to charge some mixed martial artists to do that to cut weight, because that's a lot of water. You can cut some weight real quick.
Well, the interesting thing about it was we have this device that measures your core temperature, and it comes out onto your Garmin. So you could see what your body core temperature is relative to your heart rate, relative to what you're doing. And once that's mystical all by itself, because if you know that information, you're able to do some pretty cool stuff with your training. But that's not why we're here today. So the new games, would you say that it's a little bit more challenging than the previous?
I don't think it's more challenging. I think it's just going to be, let's say like last year was a 10 out of 10. This year will also be a 10 out of 10. It's just going to be different the way I kind of see it is like Mexican food. Like you got certain ingredients, and one day you can have a burrito, then the next day you can have a taco. It's essentially the same thing. It's just in a different order. Uh, and that's kind of how fitness competition is specific to the fit game. So I don't know if it's going to be any harder than last year. It depends on the individual. Like if you're coming in from last year, and you like more of the strength events, it's going to be an equal balance of strength and conditioning. So I don't think it's more difficult. No, it's still
Well,
gonna suck.
yeah, as I kind of mentioned, I was there and I know Nick, and I watched the beginning portions of the. I didn't say for the whole games. I watched
Right.
the beginning portions, and he was in the string thing. He was getting killed,
Yeah,
and
I
I
think he
thought,
took
oh my
last
god,
place. Yeah,
yeah, I thought this guy was way in over his head. They end up winning.
yeah, he took last place in the one workout that was just pure strength, and that was the 150-pound D ball over the shoulder. But he got like second overall. So that's kind of why I really like this format, because you don't have to win every event. It's kind of like a law of averages. Uh, but someone like that, I think that's funny, because I'm like talking crap on Deca, and Nick is a heavy Deca guy. I'd like to see somebody like that graduate out of that like peewee type of fitness, because I think somebody like him specifically, and I like Nick's an awesome dude. Somebody like him specifically has I think from like a coach's seat, has the mental capacity and ability to just get fitter. And I don't know that like how much fitter you can get just doing Deca all the time. And I don't know what his training is like. I'm sure Nick's probably like doing stuff to get stronger and faster all the time. But because I like him as an athlete, and his performance to me was really impressive at the Fit Games, I want to see him come back this year and just murder everybody. You know?
Um, and can I tell you, Colin impressed me. I mean, obviously enough,
Yeah.
I didn't see him at the games, but I I saw him in my lab. And
Yeah.
what I didn't tell you is that we also did a farmer carry, and we did a lunge walk and intermittent 1 mile runs in the heat,
Hmm.
and then we did wall balls too. And he was right there. He was smoking everybody. So
Yeah.
he's
That's very high Roxy. Yeah.
yeah. Well, the idea is the blend of strength, power, and endurance,
Yeah.
and speed, obviously. But
Yeah.
it's Hunter's supposed to come out here to see me this month. I'd
Okay.
love to see him show up for something like that, because that's his cup of tea. If he's got to
Totally. I
go,
think somebody like that would do really well.
well, he's really strong. I mean,
Yeah.
really, at the end of the day, besides being able to run, he's pretty strong. So,
Yeah.
and he won't ever do a deca fit. He told me he's not, because why would I ever do one of those? He goes, that's for what?
What's his opinion? What's his opinion on why not? You
Well,
know?
he doesn't have a lot of great things to say about what it takes to win a deca fit. Let me just put
Yeah.
it like that. I don't want to completely throw him under the bus, but let me just say that as two guys talking, he just didn't have much to say about it.
Yeah.
And the guys that are doing well there, he just thinks it's JV. It's not that
Yeah.
compared to a High Rocks event. That's his only comparison. But him coming
Yeah.
from trying to compete in CrossFit, um, he's much stronger than a lot of these guys are. I mean,
Yeah. That's like regarding the whole DECA thing and Fit Games. Like when we created the Fit Games, it was really birthed out of this desire to create a fitness competition that isn't JV, um, but specifically targets and not favors, but allows your like day-to-day group fitness, garage fitness gym goer to come out and test their fitness, right? If you're a mom and you've got 4 kids, but you're super fit and you train your garage every day, there's a place for you at the Fit Games. If you're, you know, Nick Riker and your murder and decas all over the world, there's a place for you at the Fit Games. The thing with the Fit Games versus something like High Rocks or Deca is it's not a running event. There's multiple events. So you're going to do something that's 2 minutes. You'll do something that's 18 minutes. You'll do something that's 6, and then you'll do something that's 30 seconds. So you're hitting different types of like time zones and stimuluses without. And this is where like people look at the Fit Games and say, well, it looks very CrossFit. There's no barbell. There's no high skill, and there's no like
Gymnastics.
Weird gimmick, no gimmicky. You're not going to walk on your hands or slam the top of your head into the floor. I don't want for our people coming out to have to overcome that barrier just to see how fit they are, because that's skill and fitness. I'm going to let CrossFit have that. If you go to Orange Theory, you can come do the Fit Games. We have tons of people from Orange Theory. And I think it's a good place for them to come realize where their fitness is at, and maybe it's where they want it to be, and maybe it's not. And it's kind of like I saw a lot of people that, well, use Orange Theory as an example, or Orange Theory members for years. They came to the Fit Games last year. They came out of it thinking like, oh, dang, I'm not as fit as I thought. And they're at different gyms now, trying out different types of training styles, which is exactly what I wanted to kind of like elevate the fitness community in terms of people that go to gyms or people that train in their garages.
Well, I agree with you that you've raised the bar where the challenge from a strength perspective is concerned. I mean,
Totally.
And compared to both High Rocks and DecaFit, you're way ahead of them where strength is concerned.
Yeah, and I think we talked about this before. I personally, as a coach, as an event director, I look at those other events, and again, I'm kind of saying this from a backseat driver standpoint because I have not done the DECA before. I've seen it here in my gym. Like I said, we've hosted one. I just think that their perception of what strength is like ours is here and theirs is down here, right? That's just how it is. I think a lot of these people are fit, but not strong. And that's like, you bring up somebody like Hunter, I would say, yeah, that dude is strong. Which is probably why he stays away from DECA.
The advantage that, from a business perspective, the advantage that DecaFit has is it's consumer friendly. So if you host one of these in your local gym, there's a good chance that people getting a look at it will buy in because it's not overwhelming. It's not something that they're like, oh my God. The analogy we use is like, you could do a DecaFit and not have to put in a big training block to get prepared for it. Where,
totally.
And like for your event or even High Rocks, a lot of these people won't do them because it's just too hard. And,
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right, and that's something like an internal battle that I have all the time with. It just really comes down to have to make a decision of, do I want to be consumer friendly and everybody's welcome, anybody can do it, or do I want to create something that most people can do, but if you want to do it, you're going to have to try and work towards it. And I think Redline in the Fit Games falls more in that camp of, we would welcome anybody, but it's not like you're going to have to try. There are some prerequisites. There are some strength barrier to entries. Even for the more beginner divisions, there's certain weights you have to be able to do. But that's where our desire and our goal of elevating the local fitness level kind of stands. That's like the forefront of our goal. I don't want people just to settle for, well, I can do the lightweight, so I'm going to do this competition. I want people to think outside and think, you know what, I should try to get stronger because it's good for me.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you that if you set me down with someone else and we had to do 60 repetitions and I had to do my share of 70-pound dumbbells, I'm going to be there for a while. I mean, I could do it, but I'd probably, don't ask me to get up and do burpees after that. I'm just going to go hurl somewhere.
The chin's going right into the pavement.
No, it's just, that's big dog stuff. And, even I've seen some of the guys in the gauntlet trying to just get over the shoulder with that 100-pound slam ball.
Yeah, yeah.
That's no
I like
joke
that one
either.
a lot.
That's not a joke. I mean, getting that 100-pound up onto your shoulder, it's awkward. And then just, there's no clean way to get it up other than just to muscle it up. and then get
Yeah,
it over your shoulder, and then do it again, and do it again, and do it again. And for the girls, what, 70 pounds?
70 pounds for the ladies. Yeah,
Comparatively speaking,
yeah,
that's rough stuff. So the
yeah,
uh, the date was quick on the little video clip. That's coming in February. Is that right?
yeah. It's coming up in 6. I think that's 6 months, February 10th. So it's the same, this essentially the same weekend as we had it last year. So we were able to lock down that same time frame right after the holidays. I think people will be sort of over traveling and staying inside and get ready to train and compete.
So there's a solo event. Is there like a team event too?
Yeah, we have teams again this year. We added a legends division this year, which is for male or female 45 plus. So that's kind of our I guess most competitions or places we'll call that your masters division. So yeah, we do have, and we have mixed gender teams this year, which we did not have last year. So last year it was either you could be a team of 2 dudes or a team of 2 girls. Now this year you can be 1 guy and 1 girl, which is fun to watch and for people to compete too.
And so the mixed doubles, they're going to compete against another mixed double. They're not competing against two guys.
Correct. Yeah, yeah. They're only going to compete and be scored against their own division.
The gauntlet, it wasn't that way, was it?
Correct. The gauntlet was kind of the rep scheme. The weights were all kind of weighted to offset each other. So where, like, if you and I were a team, we could compete against 2 girls. They would just have different weights and different calories or whatever the workout was. But the fit games is going to be just streamlined. 2 girls compete against 2 girls. Guy and girl compete against guy and girl, and we'll leave it at that.
Yeah. Well, that makes it more interesting, I think. And
yeah, it's going to be fun.
I guess I should ask: we'll call it an elite division?
Yeah,
we're
competitive or elite. Yeah. They'll compete for money. Since we are the Nashville Fit Games, we'll kind of keep the same theme we did last year, where the top 3 get cash. Then they get on the cover of the Nashville Fit magazine. So they have an actual print magazine and their digital magazine, all that stuff. And hopefully we'll get some more cash this year than last year.
Yeah, I hope so too.
Yeah.
I mean, I have no skin in the game. I just, I like to see the sport flourish.
Totally.
I hope that somebody listening to this is thinking, "Hey, that's a prime event for me to throw some money at it."
I know. Give it. Don't give me the money. Give it to our athletes who are coming out here.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. So
killing themselves.
Nashville. There's got to be somebody that's, What about this dude that sang that song that everybody's all up in arms? He doesn't want any money. They tried to give him $8 million.
Who is it?
I forgot the guy's name. The guy that sang that song about, the guy with the
yeah, the guy that was on Rogan a few weeks ago.
He was on Rogan?
Yeah, he was on Rogan, I think, maybe a couple days ago.
I apologize. I forget his name. I'm with him.
No, I know who you're talking about.
He's just basically railing on, on the woke, crazy people in the world, and they say he turned down $8 million.
That makes me want to throw up.
I know. I mean, the guy's like living in a van or something, down by the river.
Down by the river. I don't know how. That's like next level anti-woke, because I'll go woke for a couple days to get $8 million. Jeez, I don't have that much of an ego.
You know what? Just tell me whatever I need to do for $8 million. I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Just don't make me do it for the rest of my life. But get like a week, penalize me for about a week or so. I'm down.
Yeah.
We talk about fights. It's like hold me up and let somebody just pound me to death, like Mike Tyson.
I joke about that all the time. It's like you see all these like super fights happening, like the Jake Paul fighting Nate Diaz. I'm like, I'll fight Jake Paul just knock me out. I won't even swing. I'll just take the paycheck for the day.
I'm going to pay somebody $500,000 to pick me up so I can keep it a sport. Just keep picking me up. And just make sure you give me to the hospital when it's all done.
Yeah.
Give me one shot. I want to be able to hit the guy once at least, right?
I know. Yeah.
All right. Well,
so that's crazy.
Coolio, we got another Fit Games.
Yeah.
I'm living in the neighborhood, right? And you
Hmm.
bring a game to my neighborhood, which is I just claimed it. Now it's my neighborhood. I've been here like 2 years, um, and I got to get behind it. And I
Yeah.
called you out. I called you out for this one purpose. There's nothing in it for me other than to help you get better at what you're trying to do. That's all it
No,
is.
we appreciate that. That's what, and I'll speak for Redline as a whole. You've met our entire staff, and
Right?
we appreciate your support. You supported the Gauntlet. We support what you do. We came over and did our VO2
Yes, you
max,
did.
and um, I think what's cool, just about, and I'll just speak for you and I back and forth, is uh, you, me, and you. We both come from endurance background, I think, and a
Right.
lot of people look at the fit games like it's not an endurance event. Like, did you started off being a triathlon race director?
Right.
I, I started off doing sprint triathlons in Southern California, and I did that for a decade.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
I did. I did the races.
yeah,
I've put a bunch of those races under my belt. You
yeah.
know.
So
Um,
what I think is cool about like uh, our relationship as friends is that we both come from these like not weird obscure backgrounds, but these backgrounds that bring in a lot of like scientific ideas and practices into the strength conditioning hybrid world of training. Uh, which is pretty rare, I think, because a lot of people that are, let's say, like doing Decker or High Rocks, they're kind of new to fitness racing. Where if you came from like a duathlon and triathlon background, it's like that's been around forever. Heart rate training has been around forever. Periodized training has been around forever. All that stuff, and all
well,
we're doing with the
it's
fit
funny you
games
bring this
is
up because we had this. I didn't mean to cut you off. I had this conversation just the other day with some folks, and I have a complaint, and so it's an obvious complaint, and we're always talking about throwing money at events and things like this, but there's a reason, right? Um, in the space that we live in, the space we work in, uh, let's go ahead and include DecaFit, High Rocks, your
yeah,
events. These type of events are novel events. That's kind of new,
yeah,
and they don't have the same kind of juice that a triathlon does or a cycling event does. And so those events are highly supported by big sponsors. There's lots of money in those sports, right? Cycling
yeah,
for sure. Look at soccer, for God's sakes. Look at something like soccer. So the technology and the innovation and the research, there are people that are being paid big money to try to figure out how best to perform in these venues.
yeah.
These sports just don't have any money in them to speak of, and so there's just And I had this conversation, and these guys are going to one day get pissed off at me because I've thrown them under the bus about 17 times already. But just to give you an example, this company that makes this heat sensor that I'm using, body core temperature measurement device, I reached out to him. I said, "Look, I'm fascinated by this because this is what I do. I'm in the human resource business. I'm looking at human performance. I'm doing VO2 max tests. I'm doing all these different assessments on athletes. Have been for 30 years, and I see where this is a really ideal component of the process, and I see where you're using it. It's very beneficial. Blah 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 blah." I said, "What I would love you to do is throw me a few of these devices so I can use in my lab, and then when I collect content, I'll send it to you. You can do whatever you want to do with it." And the guy said, "Nah, I don't think so." And I'm thinking, the little thing I
Yeah.
bought one, right? So the thing costs like $250, right? So I'm
Yeah.
asking for three of these things, right? And some suits. The suits are like $26, for two, right? And I'm like, what? What do you mean? What do you mean? Nah, I don't think so. I said, as soon as I unleash this and people see what I'm doing and the research I put into this, you're going to sell a ton of these things. I said, and if you don't believe me, this novel sport that's coming up, I want you to Google High Rocks just to see what they're doing and how it's global and blah, 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 blah. You know what the guy says to me? He goes,
Mm.
"Well, you just made my case. If I got to Google it to figure out what it is," he goes, we get the conversation's over. It's like, because it's not big enough. It's, and
Yeah.
so getting back to finding money for events and such, it's because people are still kind of like leery, and I don't know. I remember when Spartan and the OCR thing started to get live, and it went on TV, and all this stuff was going on. It's huge. And I was talking to athletes I worked with because my podcast back in the day, I had a podcast for like 9 years before people knew what it was. The microphone was made out of wood, and I started talking to these athletes I know, and I'm like, hey, dude, have you checked this out? This is what? No, that ain't gonna be here, And so it's sad, but triathlon was the same way. Now you can't throw a rock you couldn't throw a rock without hitting a triathlon. In California, you know this. You throw a rock, you hit 10 triathlon coaches, right?
Yeah. I think, talk about the money thing. It's like with Spartan, like personally, I didn't hear of Spartan until I think maybe Reebok picked them up, and it was like the Reebok Spartan race. And same thing with triathlon. It's like Timex picks up the Ironman, and it's like, suddenly there's bigger money behind it. But with these like High Rocks and Deca, and I wouldn't even include the Fit Games in that because we're so talking about JV from a business perspective. We're still JV. We're brand new, but our market isn't like this whole like global takeover of fitness. It's more, at least for now, we want to do it right and do it small before we just blow out everything.
Well,
is it going to grow? For sure.
If you take where everything is headed, right? Everybody's pushing towards the strength component and the fitness component, more so than like the guttural thing. Like OCR is kind of guttural. It's like you're just trying to prove to yourself that you can do hard shit, right? Well, this is kind of on the same ilk, but it's more of a fitness thing than it is a life bucket challenge kind of a thing, right?
Right.
And so there's a difference. And I think that it should gain traction simply because, doing stuff like this will help you to become fitter.
Totally.
You're going to be healthier. Running up a mountain and twisting your ankle is not healthy.
No.
I mean, you know me. I coach guys like this. I've got a guy going to Killington next weekend to do the ultra distance, Spartan event. He's going to go up and down that mountain. I don't know how many times. He just ran the crazy mountain 100 the other day in Utah or Montana. From 6,000 to 11,000 feet up and down for 100 miles on a single track trail. That's crazy talk, right?
I can't wrap my brain around it anymore. And I'm speaking from coming from, and I've done the Ironman. I used to do the miles. I used to spend 5 hours on a bike and do a 3-hour brick run. But the more I'm in the fitness industry and the more research I've done, it's like if you want to be healthy long term, like strength is king. There's no way around it. Like you have to lift weights. You have to do it often. You have to do it heavy. You have to do it smart. And I'm not against running. I mean, Fit Games has running, and I still run. But I don't know that like crazy high mileage is. And I get some people have an itch to scratch, but that's just not our cup of tea. And personally, I don't do that anymore. I feel better the stronger I am, and I want our consumers to feel better because they are aiming to get stronger without losing basic endurance. I don't mean like 50-mile trail runs, but we want our athletes to be able to run 2 miles fast.
Yeah, you're definitely onto something because the older you get, strength is a bigger concern than your cardiovascular abilities, right?
100%. And I think and I hope that this misconception that the older you get, it's dangerous to lift weights and get strong, but no, it's dangerous not to. And anybody who says otherwise is just, in my opinion, pretty dumb.
I feel guilty now. I got to go in there and start lifting some weights.
And it's relative. I don't mean you have to like, if you're 55 or 60, you don't need to go in the gym and like max your back squat every day, but you should be on some sort of regimen or periodized strength program to some capacity, not only because it's good to work towards something, but because that's truthfully how you get stronger. If you're not periodizing your strength training, then you're not actually getting stronger. End of story.
Well, mind you, I'm a level above what you just said, 50, 60. I'm 70, dude. 70
I
years.
keep forgetting that.
Yeah.
I keep forgetting
70 years old.
that.
And I've got, you've been here before. I've got all the Concept 2 equipment. I've got
Yeah.
treadmill. I got dumbbells to the cows come home, and you could just dust them off. There's like dust all over them. I just got to get off my dead ass onto my dying
That's
feet.
okay. You're doing the good work though. You're helping other people get that. You're being selfless by doing what you're doing.
So, obviously enough, I would like to believe that a lot of people that are watching this are coming from our neck of the woods. So, your
Yeah.
place, Redline Fitness, is in Brentwood.
Yeah, we're in a little town neighborhood called Maryland Farms in Brentwood.
Maryland
So it's
Farms.
like sandwiched right between Nashville and Franklin.
Well, I would highly advise that anyone that's listening to this that lives in the area that is in some other whack gym, that come check you guys out, because I know your people. You got a quality group of coaches that are involved in your
Dude,
place.
we have the absolute smartest, most talented, knowledgeable, and not to mention our coaches are so fit too. That's like one thing that uh, selfishly, like I will always brag on is like every coach that works here, or coaches here. Uh, there's a lot of coaches that are fit that maybe don't know how to implement that programming and teaching to other clients. But dude, you've been our coaches. I'm just puffing them up, but
I said it
they're the
first,
best of
man.
the best.
I said
Yeah,
it
they're the
first.
best of the
Yeah,
best.
yeah.
Yeah,
You rarely find a house full of trainers, coaches, whatever you want to call them, that are of that
yeah,
caliber. And
yeah,
you realize I've been in the business for a really long time. I've been all over the United States. I go out and do clinics at different little, boutique training facilities. I know a lot of guys in the business that are, I own gyms myself for 15, 18 years,
yeah,
and hired a bunch of trainers one time or another. And, you might have a diamond in the rough. You might have one guy that's like the guy, right? And then then
hmm
you, then you got all these other minions that are following him around just trying to do what he's doing. You don't have that going
yeah,
on. Everybody, if I threw a client in the air, wherever it dropped in front of your people, it's going to be in a good spot.
yeah. Totally. I've been personally, I've been really blessed with our staffing because Redline, we're our own entity, our own business. Redline is a gym. We do classes and personal training. The Fit Games is something that we um, kind of have some ownership in, and I program the Fit Games. Our staff here helps run it, schedule it. They collaborate on the programming and all that stuff. So, as far as cliche as it is, like there's no group of people that I've met that doesn't practice what they preach like these guys, and you've met them.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. We're blessed to have that level of not only experience and expertise, but like I'm speaking for all the coaches here. Like we all just always like learning. We go to other gyms and take classes. We're always researching stuff, and we're opinionated for sure. I think anybody who's ever been around us or talked to us about fitness, we're very very opinionated. But speaking for my other coaches, rightfully so. They're just smart. And they're good at what they do.
Well,
So
getting back to this Nashville Fit Magazine is what it's called.
yeah, yeah,
They need me on the cover.
dude. I know people. Actually, that's not a bad idea.
They should put my ass on the cover. I've
Yeah.
landed here. Come from the West Coast, all over the world. Here I am. They should,
Well, let's make it happen. I think
they should
you
milk
need
it.
you need a two-page spread with the left page being your arm like this on your couch and the right page your feet up on the couch,
Cigar.
and then all your cigar and then all your VO2 gear on the floor.
Something.
It's some linen pants.
Bodies.
Linen
Yeah.
pants for sure.
Got some linen pants. All right.
Yeah.
Look, Devin, thank you so much for doing this with me. I will be
Yeah,
at the
man.
games. Anybody has any questions or concerns, you can reach out to me. I know somebody that's working the deal. So either that or get
Cool.
to Devin. Check out the Redline Quality Fitness in am I saying it wrong if I say Brentwood?
No, Brentwood. Yeah.
Yeah. Come check it out.
I'm proud to say Brentwood. Brentwood is I love
It's a
Brentwood.
little aloof.
Yeah. But
It's a little
every time I
saucy.
talk to you, man, I say the same thing. It's always a pleasure talking to somebody who has knowledge, experience, and is willing to talk nerdy shit in the fitness world.
Yeah,
Not
well,
enough of it.
You got me, man. You got me. You got me.
Yeah,
Dead to
dude.
rights. All right, buddy.
Cool.
Thank you so much.
Well,
I'll see you soon, bro.
all right, we'll talk to you soon, homie. Take care.
Take care. Yep.
Later.